has scored every trip into the red zone in Big 12 play so far. Beck throwing the other direction on the lob into the bucket. Touchdown.
All right. Welcome back. Thanks for tuning in. As always, the Cyclone Fan Perspective brought to you by the Play the Fight Song podcast, where we cover college football content each and every single week, and where you hop in on our YouTube channel and we talk Cyclone football. We give you previews, recaps from the week that was, anything that has to do with Cyclone football. We are your guys for it. As always, I'm joined with my brother, Justin. Justin was at the game yesterday, so he gets to give us another little insight of how the things were in the Cyclones recap versus the Texas Longhorns. Quickly, Iowa State falls at home on national television on Fox at 7. They fall to Texas 26-16. I know what my thoughts are. Justin, you kind of said it last week. You didn't really have a whole lot of thoughts on the BYU game. I think there's a lot of good takeaways from wins and losses, but this one was not very surprising to me. But what do you feel about it?
No, it wasn't very surprising at all. I actually thought we played pretty well. I mean, they came out and I thought the secondary was probably the best unit of all of us. I actually thought we played really well. I'm not sure why Texas didn't run the ball more. They were running it pretty effectively, but no, the atmosphere was honestly, it was better than the Kansas game. Honestly, everyone seemed a little more excited, and then just, I don't know, it sounds dumb as like a fan to say, but it just felt like a more like focused atmosphere.
Yeah,
like people were, obviously it's Texas, so people were taking it a lot more serious. And I don't know, I thought the team played really well. Well, not well enough, I guess, but it's just tough when you're outmatched as we were, like on the line of scrimmage.
No, I agree 1,000%. I think, I thought they did play well. Well's probably a good enough word to describe it. If they play like that versus BYU, Baylor, Cincinnati, some of those bad teams in the Big 12, like, they're getting through those mistakes that they made and they're winning the football game. But when you play as good of a team as Texas is, you just can't afford to make many mistakes. And I don't think they didn't make a ton of mistakes, but they also didn't capitalize on opportunities that were there. I think Texas on the front five, I said it in my preview, I mean, that's a college football playoff caliber team. And then it really came to light, especially on the ground. For Iowa State offensively, they rushed for 20 yards total. Actually, statistically, they rushed for like 9 yards total because of all the sacks Rocco had.
Yeah, so, nine was the finish. Abu had 11, Eli had 10, and Norton had 2.
And God, I can't, as sad as that stat is, I'm not really surprised. They were really good. Devondre Sweat is probably one of the best interior linemen in all of college football. That man is he is massive. And they struggled there. There were some people saying that maybe they shouldn't have run it as much as they did in the second half. I'm more on the side of I think you just kind of have to do it. I know that it doesn't really work. I mean, they even tried to throw a screen pass to Abu just to like get something going and get him outside the tackles, and that just didn't really work. I don't know. I mean, maybe in the last 2 possessions, would I have loved to see him throw every play? Sure, you probably need to in that situation. But I think just to let a game develop and to try to manage a game against such a good team like Texas is, I think you need to run it at least a little bit. But what do you think? You think we need to throw it every possession in the fourth quarter or what?
I mean, it sounds dumb, but like, given the situation we were in yesterday, I was kind of getting to that point. I mean, I don't know, like, let me pull up the stat again. Yeah, Abu was averaging 1.6 yards and Eli was averaging 1.7.
They averaged
3 carries for 2 yards.
They averaged 0.4 yards a carry if you add all of the yards.
I thought Shieldhouse called a really good game
for
the most part. They were doing well given the circumstances of the line and not being able to run the ball. Because, I mean, if you can take away the run game like that from a team, like the fact that Iowa State was able to keep it as close as they were is pretty impressive, especially with like a young freshman quarterback going up against that defense. I thought they called a really good game, but it did feel like sometimes with some of the runs that they were doing, they were just wasting downs. Like, we knew what was going to happen. Like, and I know you got to try to keep them honest, but the weakest part of their defense was their secondary. We knew that. So like, I'm more under the opinion that we need to keep attacking their weakness if it was working for us, which it was. Rocco ended up throwing for like 300 yards and eventually I was hoping we would keep passing it like that. So hopefully Texas would have to shift their defense to stop the pass, and then maybe we'd be able to run, because all they had to do was put their 4 guys on the D line and we weren't running anywhere. They didn't have to blitz. They didn't have to bring anybody extra. It was just like, that was enough. I was hoping we would have done something to help them change their defense, which obviously we threw it quite a bit, but I honestly think we would have been better off doing it even more.
Yeah, and I'll do a better job of producing and pull up the stats here on the bottom for you guys. Rocco played pretty well for the most part. That pick came at a bad time, but he was 24 of 32 for 323. I think the game plan for Sark and the defense was, we're going to give them everything short. I think Jaden Higgins had like 5 slant catches, and that's how he got all of his yards for the most part. They were gonna rely on their defensive line to shut down the run, and they weren't gonna get beat in the back end. And really, outside of the Easton Dean fake pop pass,
great play call.
Yeah, awesome play call. And I think the other one was a Higgins jump ball where he just kind of made a better play than the corner. One thing I didn't highlight in the preview that was bigger than what I kind of thought was the return of Jalen Catalon for Texas at the safety position. This was a guy who hadn't played in, I think, 3 or 4 weeks. He was a transfer from Arkansas, and he's a really good safety for them. And they had kind of had issues like Iowa State had with Cooper and Verdone kind of being out of the lineup all year. When Catalon went out, they had questions at that safety position. So him coming back last night, I think, played a huge role of they didn't get beat on anything. They're like, okay.
Was he the one who made the pick?
I don't know if he was the one that made the pick. He might have been.
No, it was Jaron Thompson.
Okay.
That was a good. Yeah, I was just gonna say, I could say, yeah, that was a really good play.
And you mentioned it too, like you're kind of wasting downs on some of those runs. And so they're like, maybe on first down, we're going to give you a 5-yard slant. You're going to try to run it on second down. You're not going to get a yard. And then you might try to pass again or try to run it for a second time in that position. And they just shut it down. So I think Iowa State just should have just kept hammering the short passes personally if they decided to go away from the run. And I just kind of didn't really feel like they took advantage of it. It was almost like a similar Iowa style, I thought, out of Texas. They're kind of like, we're going to give you something and you're either going to take it or you're not. And
and you never want to be like a video game where you like just throw it every single down. But at the same time, if there's such a mismatch on the line and that's what they're giving us, like to beat Texas with the difference in the rosters right now and like how young our roster is and everything, we needed to play pretty close to perfect.
Yep.
And so us just kind of putting ourselves behind the 8 ball there with like wasting some of those runs. I know what they're trying to do, but like we knew it was pretty obvious pretty early on that wasn't going to work. I wish we would have adjusted a little more.
I agree. So I want to kind of talk about the mistakes a little bit. I think everybody the block kick was huge. It was a huge momentum shifter. I mean, what did it change? A 3-point swing in the football game.
They played Juicy Wiggle after that. What a buzzkill.
They said the stadium kind of like lost its air when that happened. Was that kind of true?
Like, it doesn't take much to, I feel like, run like the scenes of, or like the fanfare of like a stadium with like the walkout and like stuff like that. Like, I think I could do a better job than how they've done this year. It just kind of annoys me as a fan. Like, it's not that difficult.
Unfortunately, they have the rest of the year. They have another 365 to prepare for next year and see how they can improve as well. Because I kind of agree. They've done some good things this year in the stadium with all the night games and stuff like that.
Yeah, the fireworks and everything before the game were really cool. They added a couple more to what they've been doing. That was sweet.
I don't know if it's like a DJ or something, but yeah, that guy, whoever it is, I'm sorry, man. You need to kind of figure it out a little bit.
Yeah, sorry to sidetrack us there too. That just really pissed me off when they did that. It was like what was that? Like the beginning of the third quarter too. I was like, save it for the fourth quarter. And I know we didn't score at the end of the game, so it wouldn't have mattered because they were just looking for a time to play it. But
right.
Like, just don't play. It doesn't need to be played every time. But.
No, I kind of agree, especially if you want to make it a tradition. But going off of that, the block kick was a huge momentum shifter. I thought the missed kick was a bigger deal. And I don't know if you guys saw it on Stadium, but on TV, I was just as pissed as Campbell was because son of a bitch, man. Like, you're a long snapper, and I'm not going to sit here and trash on this 20-year-old kid, and I don't even know the long snapper's name, but he's been poor all year because Chase Contreras has been solid. Like, go back and look at all of Contreras' misses. I don't mean to point out one guy, but it's literally on our snapper, and Campbell knows that. Like, the reason Contreras lost it is because it was a high snap, it was a terrible hold, and he just point blank smoked it left, and it's 50 yards. Like, it's a tough kick, but Contreras made 55-yarder in the UNI game, and he's been really
Yeah.
good. So
From the stadium, I didn't even notice that snap, to be honest. It just looked like Chase kind of pulled it. What happened? It was just like a high snap
it was a
like
high
that?
snap. It was just a
Oh,
terrible high snap. I think that happened in the Ohio game, the Iowa game on the blocked. I mean, the Iowa one was blocked, but still, it was another bad snap. I mean, he's just, I don't know. That is the most frustrating part because they can't touch
stuff
you.
adds up.
You just got to execute a snap, and Campbell gets on your ass for that because that's as marginal as it gets. Like,
Yeah, and
buddy,
our margin, I mean, especially against Texas, the margin for error is 0. But like us, like in a lot of our games, that was the thing about Kansas, the margin for error is too small to be messing around with little stuff like that.
Yep, and then what do you think? The missed kick or the block kick was more detrimental? I think I'm in the
Um,
I don't think more people are gonna side with you and probably thinking the block kick was bigger, which it probably was just
block
because of
kick
the
was
flip.
big. Block kick was big for the momentum. I mean, they were both 3-point swings.
Yep.
Um, so I mean, at the same time, it's not that they're the same point swing. So I don't know. I just felt the momentum of them getting the 2 points off of the touchdown. Like we finally got in the end zone. The same thing about the Kansas game. Like we finally got in the end zone, cut it to 1, and then they made a big play instantly. And
I
then
will say too,
just killers for momentum.
Rocco's been so good all year, and I think he's got a hell of a career ahead of him, but the losses this year, somehow his interceptions just come at the worst times. I mean,
Yeah.
they can't come at a worse time. You get a 7-play, 83-yard touchdown drive with that Easton Dean fake. Texas on the next possession goes 3 plays, punt right away. And
Mhm.
first play, right off the bat,
I
man.
loved that play call too. Because they finally did. Because like, yeah, obviously we kept running the ball, and if you'd been sitting with me in the stands, you could have heard me. I like stood up and yelled one time, "Quit running the ball!" And like everyone was looking at me. Not a good look. But yeah, they come out with that play action pass. And it was a great play. And I don't know, it was just
I thought he forced it.
yeah, I
I thought
mean,
he
maybe
really
it was
wanted
kind
the
of
play
young.
to
I
be
think it
there.
was there. If he would have faked it and then hit the pass like instantly, it would have been okay. Or you've just got to throw it to the sideline and not
Yeah,
let
because
the
wasn't
safety
it to
feel.
Knoll? Then it was to
Yeah.
Knoll kind of on a long post across the middle. From the
Mhm.
TV screen, I mean, it looked like Knoll did have a couple of steps on him, but like you said, he
Mhm.
he
He
kinda
was
waited too long to throw that ball, and
yeah,
the
it
Texas
was
safety
there.
was covered up.
If he would have hit it, if he would have like faked it and whipped around and then hit the pass right away, it might have worked. That or if he was gonna wait like he did, you can't like that's almost like throwing it in the middle of the field, like giving the safety
Yeah,
time to make the play. You've got to like give him one more second and then just throw it to the sideline. Neither he makes the play or you throw it out of bounds.
I totally agree, but
Just kind of a young throw. It wasn't great.
hey, we just listed off like 3 plays, and that honestly was the difference, between beating a Texas team at home. Iowa State's still playing good football. They have a lot left to play for. They have a massive game next week. I just wanna quickly highlight my 3 keys because I thought they went maybe 1 of 3, and usually losses is 0 of 3, but I thought they did 1 of them pretty well, and we'll go over it here. I thought you had to limit Baxter, and you just didn't. You had to shut him down early, and unfortunately, you just didn't. But I'm not surprised. Number one, Texas has I think according to PFF, the best offensive line in the country. CJ Baxter is a 5-star. You know, they kind of think he's going to be better than Bijan one day, from what I've been hearing. And he was really, really good. So not disappointed, but and also not surprised. So it is what it is. So what else did you have to do? I thought you had to stay on the field. I believe Iowa State was 3 of 11 on third downs. If I grab that here quick,
Yeah,
yes, 3 of
sounds
11 on third down. Just not good enough. Like I said, you didn't have to be 65% like last week against BYU, but you had to be in the 45-ish range, maybe even half against a really good team like Texas. You just had to stay on the field, and
for
we've
sure.
gone over it. Why? So they didn't do that. But my last thing, I thought, play like nothing to lose. That Easton Dean fake pass was playing like nothing to lose. I thought they did that pretty well. Like they left it all out there. I don't think that's where I'm even remotely, not even close to being frustrated about this game. I don't think there's anything Iowa State was like, oh, they should have done this, or I really think they just kind of held themselves back on the, like, other than maybe throwing it a couple more times. Like I thought Iowa State left it all out there. They were aggressive enough. They could have gotten a pick. Malik Verdone, you just got to catch the ball.
Yeah.
Sorry, buddy.
Yeah.
So
I forgot about that. Yeah. That would have been huge.
you go for a couple of fakes. It is what it is. And they
Mhm.
gave themselves a chance. So those were kind of my three keys. I don't know if there was something maybe I missed that you thought they should have done better that we haven't
No,
covered yet.
no,
But
not really. I mean, if you look at the box score and seeing that we only averaged a yard and a half per carry against that Texas team, and the fact that we still had a chance, like the team didn't they played pretty well. They really did.
yeah,
I thought the defense played pretty well. Outside of them being able to run the ball, they should have ran the ball more. Our defense played a lot better than I thought they were going to up against their pass. They really earned a lot of their scores. Like we
yep,
held them to a couple field goals, and like the times they were scoring touchdowns, they were like great plays, like some good play calls. I mean, we hit them with the Easton Dean pop pass, but they hit us with one like that first. So
yeah.
it
They
was a great play.
I thought Ewers just, I mean, he wasn't great, but there was a couple times he made just solid throws, and that's why
Mhm.
he is who he is. He's an all conference, probably maybe a first or second team quarterback in this league, probably a future NFL guy one day. It's going to happen. So, the biggest question moving out of this game, Malik Verdone goes down. I believe it was towards the end of the third. Uh, you finally get Jeremiah Cooper back. And of course, now Malik Verdone goes down. I would have to go back and look. But maybe like I'm thinking on the top of my head, Cincinnati. And did he get hurt? Did Cooper get hurt in the Baylor game? I'm trying to think of games where they both
Um,
were on the field at the same time. I thought he was the one who went down in the Baylor game. Uh,
I
so
thought Cooper went down in Baylor.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Cooper was the
Oh,
one who went down the Baylor game. Verdone gets hurt in that UNI game. He missed the Iowa game. I think he missed even the Oklahoma game and the Ohio game. So
he definitely missed the Oklahoma game. I know
yeah.
that.
So I mean, just another blow for this defense. I think usually it's not like Vegas isn't going to do this because they don't pay attention that closely to the power ratings and everything like that. But if Cooper's not, or if Verdone's not playing, I think that game can swing another 3 points. Like if Kansas State's probably already going to be a 5 point, 6 point favorite, I think it
Yeah, I
could
don't
get
think
above
there's a
7.
line out for it yet.
I think it could get above 7 if Verdone is
Yeah.
not playing. I think that's where the
Um,
value's at.
the ESPN matchup predictor, whatever that tells you, we actually had a better chance to beat Texas than they have us for K-State.
Yeah, so we'll go into that quickly. That's why I want to highlight the Verdone status because Kansas State, and we'll talk about our preview later this week, but you know, they run the ball extremely well. I think their front five offensively on the line is as good as uh, anybody else in the league. They don't recruit 4 and 5 stars, but they develop better than probably anybody else in the conference. I think DJ Giddens had another 100 yards against Kansas. They snuck out. Will Howard didn't play that well. I think their receivers aren't very good. But
Mhm.
this is a matchup nightmare if Verdone's not going to be able to go on that run defense or that
Yeah.
run offense.
Yeah, we're highlighting, like, how vulnerable our secondary could be, and at the same time, their strength is their running game, and
Yep.
they like, how Texas, like, loves to throw the ball and would maybe be a little passive towards the run. K-State will have no problem running it if it's working. They're just gonna
Yeah.
keep on hitting us with that if it's working. So our
They
linebackers, our D-line are really gonna have to show up.
I mean, it's literally like playing Iowa twice a year. If they're getting 3 or 4 yards every single carry, they're like you said, they're not going to go away from it. They're going to stick with it every single play. Looking at the weather right now, it looks like sunny and calm, but it's like a high of 38, and that's with the sun out. So
They
it could be
released the
another,
kick time at
yeah,
7 o'clock
7 o'clock. 7 o'clock.
again. Holy cow!
Iowa State gets on national television again, the 4th straight week. They will be playing another night game in
Damn,
Manhattan at 7.
damn. That's kind of cool though.
Yeah, no, I like it. I mean, the more eyes on this program, the better. I think this is a fun team to watch,
Yeah,
just for anybody in college football right now. And what better than the greatest rivalry in college football to be played on national television at prime time at night?
exactly.
Farmageddon lives on. Let's highlight quickly the Big 12 scores from the weekend. Nothing nothing to really note too much. Like I said, Kansas State goes on the road and gets out of Lawrence with a 4-point win. They beat Kansas 31-27. Cole Ballard played for Jason Bean, and I think Jason Bean plays that game, and they're beating Kansas State. But Oklahoma State goes on the road to Houston. They score 43 in a win, 43-30 over Houston. I believe they got one more win from clinching themselves into the title game. I think if they win next week. And they have BYU at home. BYU hosted Oklahoma at 10 o'clock in the morning in Provo.
That
And
was a good game.
they gave Oklahoma a run for their money. And Oklahoma edged it out and won 31-24. West Virginia continues to prove why Cincinnati's the worst team in the league, and they win 42-21. That was never close from the get-go. That was easily my best bet of the weekend. Texas Tech also proves that another newcomer, you just don't go into these towns and expect to win these road games. They go into Lubbock and fall 24-23. With all the injuries that's been had with McGuire's team this year, they're bowl eligible. So I think that's honestly a win for a young group out of them. And TCU wins 42-17, and Baylor continues to look like the worst team in college football week after week. I thought Duranda was going to get fired, but with some of the contract details I heard about, I'm not sure if they will, because he's got like 6 more years on his deal after winning that Big 12 title.
Yeah, yesterday was not good for them.
I mean, it's not even close. But
that shocks me. But yeah, we don't need to get into that.
We'll see. So last but not least, another update on the bowl game projections. This was a huge week to tell where Iowa State was really going to go. According to 247, this one has Iowa State playing SMU in the Liberty Bowl.
Ooh.
I think SMU's a really fun team out of the American. It kind of reminds me of when we played Memphis when they were ranked a few years ago when Norvell was coaching them. I don't even think this depends on Iowa State winning Saturday or not. I think they can lose and still get in the spot because I believe Kansas State was in the Liberty Bowl projections last week. So I think if they win, they're going to take like the Alamo Bowl spot or something else. Maybe that I think it's the Pop-Tarts
Bowl
should. Now.
A 9-3 Kansas State team. If they're 9-3, we'll see. I mean, if we win this game, that would be huge. I know we're not really talking very optimistically about it, and you'll touch on it. You'll touch on it in the future preview, but yeah, that would be a big win. Still waiting on us to beat somebody that we're not supposed to. And I think even getting to a bowl game, if we were to play a team like SMU, that would be a good win. I believe they're ranked now or no?
They have been. I don't think they are at the moment.
Okay.
I think I'm pretty sure they still have a shot to win the American title.
Rankings, maybe.
Yeah, the Pate State rankings. Their power ratings are really good. So they'll probably be favored over Iowa State if that matchup were to happen. Before we close out here, I think you said it. Iowa State hasn't beaten a team that's really realistically they're more talented than I think this year. They're winning games they're supposed to, which is great, but they have their work cut out for them. I think the difference between this game and the Texas game, number one, it's a night game in Manhattan. It's where like the vampires come out, and it's a dangerous spot for Iowa State. But also, I think talent-wise, I don't think there's a huge gap with this team. But Kansas State's more physical. That's my concern. I don't know what your thoughts are.
Yeah, I think outside of Texas, I mean, Oklahoma almost isn't even on the same level as Texas with their roster compilation. But yeah, every team is so close to this conference, and it's only going to be more like that next year. So, I mean, it's possible. This Iowa State team, I still think they're getting better every week, which is a good thing to see. They still look like they're learning and getting better. So, I mean, maybe they can pull one off. I really would be I know none of the games we might not be favored in, but I would be pretty disappointed if we ended the season on a 3-game losing streak. I would really love to see us at least get one more the rest of the way.
Yeah, win one of your next 2. I would probably agree with that. You even win this game and you can get yourself in a pretty big bowl game to put your program on a bigger national spotlight. So,
for sure.
Cyclones, gave it their all. I don't think there's disappointment much from this side. We'll preview the big Farmageddon matchup next Saturday later on this week. Have a great rest of your week. Make sure to listen to our week 12 episode. This coming out this Thursday. Hey, it's rivalry week, man. There's some awesome matchups. So make sure you tune in on Apple or Spotify. Subscribe to us on Play the Fight Song on TikTok and Play the Fight Pod on Facebook, Instagram, and X. Thanks for tuning in once again. Justin and I will touch base again with you guys soon. As always, you know what it is. Go Cyclones.